David's talking like he's from the South.
President Trump taking big banks to task over debanking conservatives. Watch this mic drop moment when he confronted Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan.
I hope you start opening your bank to conservatives, because many conservatives complain that the banks are not allowing them to do business within the bank, and that included a place called Bank of America. They don't take conservative business. And I don't know if the regulators mandated that because of Biden or what, but you and Jamie and everybody, I hope you're going to open your banks to conservatives, because what you're doing is wrong.
Wow.
Bank of America responding hours later, quote, "We welcome conservatives. We're required to follow extensive government rules and regulations that sometimes result in decisions to exit client relationships. We never close accounts for political reasons and don't have a political litmus test."
Yeah. Trust him. Yeah. Joining us now, Heritage Foundation public finance economist EJ Antoni. EJ, we know exactly. And by the way, Moynihan did not answer when Donald Trump, he neither denied nor agreed with what Bank of America was alleged to be doing, according to Donald Trump. But we have people that are talking about it. There are nonprofit groups, Christian nonprofit groups that are conservative, that have been debanked by the bank, despite what the bank has said. It seems like the jig is up. That is, that it's out there now. We know what they're doing, and they know that we know what they're doing.
Oh, absolutely, David. In fact, during the first Trump administration, we had documents released which dated back to the Obama administration, something called Operation Choke Point. And what we found out was essentially that just like the IRS was targeting conservative groups, you had all kinds of government regulators who were also strong-arming financial firms like Bank of America into debanking conservatives. That scourge continues today. Now, it is getting much better under Trump than it was under Biden. A lot of that has to do with the fact that Biden was pressuring the SEC, the FDIC, throw together any other 3 or 4 letter agency you want. All of these government agencies were coming down on the financial sector to debank all kinds of crypto founders, tech founders, you name it. They were really going after these folks hard. And here's hoping that the Trump administration can clean up that mess.
It is real, and it's happening at J.P. Morgan, despite the denials. And I can sit here and name the people. Shoot, former Senator Sam Brownback and the former governor of Kansas was running a not-for-profit for religious freedom and had his bank account closed by J.P. Morgan. And what you're talking about all of these crypto founders, and this is kind of at the direction of people within government, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. We know this because of Mark Andreessen. And Mark Andreessen's partner's father was debanked. This is fact, not fiction, and not conjecture.
Oh, absolutely, Dagan. You're 100% right. And I think we should also point out that this issue is kind of personal for the president, because his wife, our wonderful First Lady Melania, she actually lost her bank account after January 6th, 4 years ago. And then on top of that, she was unable to get her son Barron a bank account as well. And what happens is the regulators will essentially label certain people as somehow being politically compromised, or they'll find some other euphemism for it. And essentially what they do is they tell the banks, look, if you're going to do business with these clients, we're going to increase your risk assessment. And that has all kinds of negative implications, including even on things like capital requirements for the banks.
Now,
are you a PEP? A politically exposed person? It's a real thing. Go ahead, Debbie.
We mentioned at the top of the show this afternoon, President Trump signed an executive order promoting crypto, potentially developing a national digital asset stockpile.
President Trump's AI and crypto czar, David Sachs, the venture capitalist, spoke to our own Ed Lawrence just a short time ago.
He's directed our working group to produce a regulatory framework that's going to encourage innovation in crypto in the United States, keeping the industry onshore rather than driving it offshore, which is what was happening under the Biden administration. We want that innovation happening here in the United States, and I think it now will happen in the United States because President Trump has declared that the U.S. must be the crypto capital of the world.
So, EJ, there is a theme going on here. That is, we have a manufacturing recession right now in the United States, a lot of job losses there. Trump wants to reverse that, bring stuff back here, whether it's fancy stuff like crypto or basic manufacturing that businesses, even if they're foreign, if they manufacture here using our parts, they get a discount, a corporate tax discount. So that's the theme. Bring it all to the United States.
Absolutely, David. This is one of the reasons why, by the way, it is so key that we get energy production up, because we're going to need that energy production to fuel this crypto revolution. And by the way, we should also point out that just today, President Trump signed an executive order banning a central bank digital currency,
Yes.
or a CBDC, here in the United States. For those who don't know, a CBDC is basically the government-run version of something like Bitcoin. And like everything the government runs, it's far worse than its private sector counterpart. Unlike many of these cryptocurrencies, not all, but many of these cryptocurrencies which allow you to transact strictly person to person, a CBDC has to go through a central authority, meaning the Federal Reserve would now be able to trace, track, and help tax every single penny you spend. Do you really want the government knowing every single dollar, every single penny that you spend? Like, we're not talking about doing anything illegal here. We're talking about just giving $50 or $60 to your babysitter or somebody for walking your dog, whatever the case may be. Do we really want that level of government surveillance, especially when we have already seen government abuses where they go after people for doing things that the particular regulators don't like? Maybe it's buying a firearm, maybe it's donating to a conservative think tank, you name it.
That was the next step, and no more. EJ Antoni, thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend.